get this rolling.
I will be back in a moment. I gotta go grab a cable for my laptop.
Okay. I'll post this video on YouTube, but it will be an unlisted video, and I'll put the link in the teacher page so you guys can refer back to it. All right. So the calls Tuesday, Thursday, 11 a.m. Sorry, I was a tiny bit late. Was still eating breakfast, and I still currently am. Wednesday, so tomorrow, I'll be posting the test, and you guys will have to have it completed by Thursday morning at 10 a.m. That'll give you, like, I'll post it probably around noon on Wednesday, and then you'll have until 10 a.m. on Thursday. After the test, we'll be continuing into the fundamental identities. But first, I wanted to go over if there's anything in the review assignment that you guys have done that confused you. I'll go over certain topics kind of quickly. I have the textbook right in front of me, actually. Since I have it here, we can go through a couple of the questions if you want. I do want for you guys to do most of it on your own, but I also want to make sure that you understand everything, or the majority of it. So were there any, like, did any of you actually go through and try to do most of it?
Not yet.
So a no from you. Charlotte, have you done it yet?
Yeah.
Did you finish it?
Yeah.
You found it easy?
Yeah, for the most part.
Okay. Brandon, how about you?
No.
Have you even started?
I wrote my name.
So you're as far as Justin. All right. Sheena, did you?
Same,
Just wrote your name? All right.
pretty much.
So looking at these, you are going to want to either graph them, draw them out, something like that. You can see where the terminal sides are on these. On these. So number 11 and 12, you'd be drawing them out. And I have, like, the whiteboards have the graphing on them. So you can kind of estimate where the square root of 3 would be, which if you were to put that in your calculator, that gives you something like 1.7. That's just... yeah, 1.73. So if you were to do that on here, be around, I'm making it a decent amount larger. Actually, 1.7 going this way, and then 1.
There we go. Okay.
So it would look something like that. They gave you a point that's on the terminal side. So it's not necessarily like the end point. It could extend further, but you could see about what angle it is. And it says, give the smallest positive angle measure in both degrees and radians. So that one and the number 12, you'd be doing the same thing for both, more or less. Number 18 through 24, what you're going to do is evaluate the expression exactly without a calculator. So you use your unit circle for that. That way you don't have to go back and forth in your calculator between radians and degrees. Some of those you may remember. If you don't, I think it was 4.3 is where you get the unit circle in your textbook. Where are you? Yeah, the 16-point unit circle in your textbook is on page 346. So if you need to look back there, if you don't have your notebook with you, page 346 in your textbook is where the unit circle is. So
How is
18.
how's this test going to work?
It's going to be Google form again. I'm not going to do the, like I was saying, video proctoring. Because I'm making it so you guys can do it on your time. But because of what happened last time, like you guys all submitted in the same 3-minute window. I could tell that you guys were working together with that. Like if you guys bounce ideas off each other, I can't stop that, but make sure that you check each other's work, because you could get something very like obviously wrong if you don't check each other's work. So like I said, can't stop you. I am going to make more than one version of it, so I'll end up emailing individually the code for which one you're supposed to do.
Okay.
The problems are going to be very similar, and the problems are going to be very similar to the ones that are in the review here.
Okay.
All right, so I was saying 18 to 24, you use the unit circle pretty much. 31 and 33, well, 31, it says evaluate exactly all 6 trigonometric functions of the angle, and then use reference triangles, not your calculator. So find all 6 and leave them in terms of square roots, because most of them will be in terms of square roots. The angles for 31, like 31 is one of the angles that's on your unit circle. So use that. 33, you have to find all 6 trigonometric functions of alpha in the triangle C. So they identify angle A is angle alpha. What was that?
I was just going to say that there's 6 things to that one problem.
Yes, there are.
Isn't 5, 12, 13 a Pythagorean triple?
Yes, it is. All right. Number 40. Solve the right triangle. So they give you 2 of the sides. You have to find the 3rd side and then find all 6 trig functions and the other angle. So you're finding all the sides and going from there. 46, you have to just determine which quadrant it's in. They give you the cosine is going to be one thing, cosecant's another thing, just which quadrant is that in. 53 through 56, you're just identifying the transformations. And then it says graph 2 periods. My main concern is that you know what the transformation is. I don't care if you graph it. All right.
For what number?
53 through 56. It says to graph 2 periods. I just want you to show the identify the transformations. Write the question out, like write the equation out, and then write the transformations. And then 61 through 63. state the amplitude, period, phase shift, domain, and range of the sinusoid. So domain and range should be pretty straightforward. Amplitude and period, phase shift, those you need to get from, well, and range, you need to get from the equation itself. You may want to look back at graphing those, which was 4.4. 70, you can use a calculator to find the value, and it wants it in both degrees and radians. Like find the angle. 73, transformation, again. What is the transformation of that function? 77 through 80, find the exact value without using a calculator. So remember the relationship between the different trig functions, the way that it would be for a reference triangle. So those are the main things. I just realized that I didn't put any problem-solving questions on there. I am going to put one, add question number 95. I'm going to add that into this here in a minute. Again, the work that you guys have been doing is really good. So just keep that up. Oh no. Yeah, keep up the good work. The test is tomorrow, is when it's getting posted. Believe it or not, we have caught up with where I was at this time last year. We made up for the lost time. What?
All it takes is a pandemic.
All it takes is a pandemic, and then suddenly we are on time. So after the test, we're going to be getting into analytic trig, which is a little bit more of a puzzle. We're going to...
How many more chapters do we have to do? 2?
We're going to get through chapter 5, and I believe it's chapter 5, we jump around a little bit after chapter 5. I do want for us to do, we have to do some stuff in chapter 8. I think that's conic sections, right? Analytic geometry in 2 dimensions.
If we stay out of school longer, like, right? Like, say we don't go back on the 20th, do you think, like, we'll finish math before the end of the year?
Okay, so we'll probably get through all the material that I generally feel I need to get, but I would end up adding on a couple topics that I think are useful to you. There's a section in our textbook on discrete math, which is about, there's chapter 9 is actually what that is. We do have to hit some stuff that's in chapter 10 and 11. I believe, let me look back. I'm looking at chapter 9 right now. Oh no, it's chapter 9 and chapter 11. There are 2 topics that we have to hit to get ready for calculus. If we get through that, then we would go through a little bit more of chapter 9 and do a little bit of mathematical logic, which I like. And it's what you would use in upper level math courses in college to prove things. Whenever you hear someone say like inductive reasoning, there is a thing called mathematical induction, which you would use to prove a lot of the theorems that we kind of just accept. The concept is like adding one more rung to a ladder. So like it's k plus 1. You're proving it for k. You're proving it for k plus 1. It proves it for everything. And we would do a couple of questions with that, or do a section with that. But again, I want to get in, if we can, we could also do a little bit of statistics too, because statistics is important. And we're dealing with a lot of statistics right now in the news. and that would be useful. So if we finish the material that we have to finish, we wouldn't necessarily finish early. I would just add a couple more topics. But you may not be tested on them specifically. Does that help?
Yeah, you got it.
All right. Yeah, so the way things are running, it's not too bad. Trying to see, how long have we been in this call? Did you guys need me to run through any of those problems specifically? Most of it, you can just look back in previous sections in the textbook, and if you have your notes with you, then use your notes. But if there are no other questions, then we can end our call. On Thursday, when we do the call, we'll talk about some stuff from the test, and then get into analytic trig. All right.
Can we retake the test if we get up below an 84?
I would set up for you to take the other version of the test, possibly,
Oh, okay.
or I would set up a third one. That would be the retake version. All right.
Hopefully that will not be needed.
I hope that's not necessary. Yeah, so thank you for joining me. If there are any other questions, then feel free to email me. I will be putting in the rest of the homework assignments as I've been getting them.